Welcome to another Will You Snell development live stream, and today we'll add some juice to the shooter section of the game. Remember, WoWie Game Jam, 1st of February, sign up now, link is in the description. And if you weren't here yesterday, we basically started making a shooter level because we've gotta have everything in the game. From tower defense levels to battle royale to shooter. And yesterday the shooting didn't feel all that great. I think I'm gonna get rid of that costume because that's a slightly annoying one. And yeah, let's add some juice to the shooting. So let me show you where we left off yesterday. And I already prepared a couple of things, so we can hopefully make some quick progress on this today and get this to a place where it feels pretty awesome. Hi, Zoe, Toby Waboho, Gear Wheel, welcome. Alright. This is where we left this level off, more or less. I can shoot these enemies. And there are just some visual effects and sound effects missing to hopefully make this feel really nice and spicy. Maybe we can add some camera movement. Let's just pull every trick out of the basket to hopefully make this feel as awesome as possible. And the first one, which already makes a big difference, I think, is just changing the music. I hope you can hear the sound fine. If you can't hear it, please let me know. Then I can make it louder. So let's just replace the music with some YouTube stock music I just downloaded. So this is not the final music for this level, just placeholder. But I think this already gives us a better idea of how this level will feel like when it's completed. And I will increase the game sound for you a little bit. If the mixing is off at any point in time, if you can't hear me, or if you can't hear the game, please let me know. Hey, Mert, hey, Fabian, hey, the hacker. Everything fine? Okay. That's nice to know. Can you hear the music? This is the new music I chose, more or less. Or is it even too loud? Is the mixing fine? Because we'll keep working on the sound for a bit. So this already feels quite different with this music. And gives you more of a feeling where I want to take this, hopefully. At the moment it still looks pretty static and lame, so one of the things that might be a quick improvement as well is just to add some camera zoom. So let's try that real quick. Let's do the easiest improvements first. Here we go. Now the camera should be zoomed in a bit. And we should have some camera movement. Sound can be a little more, actually. Okay. So you mean my voice or game? I make game a little louder. Ba-ba-ba. Now we have some slight camera movement. Not sure if this is too much or too little. Definitely feels like we're a bit closer to the action. I guess we could try to make the entire room a little bit bigger. Plus 120. Oh no, never do math on stream. What is 1080 plus 120? That should be 1300, right? And plus 120 should be 2040. Oh no, one of those was incorrect. Yeah, 1200. And now we can just grab everything in this level, all of the walls. and just make a bit more space. Means we need to move the player as well. Just a little bit, and probably the enemy as well, just a little bit. And then we should obviously fill the remaining space with more walls. Maybe you should do something with particle effects or something. Yes, definitely. There should be particles spraying around everywhere when we destroy an enemy. So this is what this stream is all about, just juicing this up. I think we'll worry about sound effects first, because sound effects probably, I don't know if they have a bigger impact, but they have a very big impact on how it feels. Also, sound is should be pretty fast to implement, and particles might take a little longer, because in GameMaker we need to adjust all of those particle effects with trial and error, more or less, because we don't have a particle editor. Okay, so now we have just a little more wiggle room for the camera. Maybe that means 90% zoom is enough. I would definitely think so. Let's check it out. Hey, Zadov, welcome to the stream. Haven't seen you here before. Or I've forgotten. That happens quite frequently as well, I assume. I mean, in terms of camera movement, I have definitely added a little more unnecessary space down here, so let's just remove that bottom part of the level again, because it's really not important to see that for the player. 1200 minus 60 is 1140. And that should be a beginning. Maybe find a way to make the camera movement even cooler later on. Obviously, we'll have to add even more screen shake as well whenever you kill an enemy. That should, in theory, be relatively easy to implement. So let's do that. And maybe we can start implementing a couple of sound effects real quick. Minigames shooter. And here in our enemy. Whenever that enemy gets killed, I have a couple of different sound effects we can try. I just made a bunch of them. Some might be better than others, but let's try. Audio, play, sound. So, shooter, explosion. Audio, set, sound, gain, sound, global dot save or setting volume FX. Alrighty. Here are a couple of parameters missing. Priority 0.8 and doesn't loop. And I think I already have a function for adding screen shake. Okay, global screen shake, is it just that variable? Don't I have a script for that? I thought I had a script for that. Let me check. Maybe that was another different game. Scriptsies. I'm not reading chat at the moment, sorry. I'm gonna check in with you in just a sec. I just can't look at the chat all of the time because then I get absolutely nothing done. Okay. Guess we'll just add something on top of that screen shake variable. Don't know exactly how much, but HP max times 0.2, so we have even more screen shake when we kill bigger enemies. Okay, luckily not that many new messages in chat. That's nice. Jonas, why don't you use a tile map but prefer to place and stretch tiles individually? What do you mean with tile map? I mean, don't know if tile map would work with this kind of style. I like this mosaic look. Not sure how that would work with a tile map. I guess you could place these tiles automatically to make these walls. I don't know. It would have a different look. I don't think it would have the same effect unless I'm misunderstanding something here. Let's test it out again. Oh my god, that explosion sound sucks. I'll choose another different one. Let's check if the amount of screen shake is fine. That could be a little more for my personal taste. What about using one of those plops? And let's just add in the other sound effects as well. So we need one sound whenever one of these projectiles is created. And for that, I even made multiple sounds. Basically, I always make multiple variations of each sound, so it doesn't sound all that samey. Laser 1, so laser 2, so laser 3, so laser 4, and we need to be careful with that one because that one will be running all of the time, so let's make it a lot more silent, I guess. And when that shot is destroyed, it can make another sound effect. So laser hit 1, 2, oops, 2, 3, 4. No idea how that's gonna sound, but let's just try it out. Hey Composen, welcome to the stream. Adding some juice to the shooter level. Let's go. Oh, nice. I actually like these sounds. They sound nice and slimy. They kind of fit to the snail. They're just still a bit too loud, I guess. Okay, I think our projectiles could definitely look a bit nicer. First of all, let's make these a little more silent. They're still pretty loud. Maybe 15, whatever. And also, let's add another sound when these enemies are hit. Those sounds might sound very dull and funny once again, but maybe they work. Let's see if they do. A couple of different hit sounds. Shooter enemy hit 1. So shooter enemy hit 2. So shooter enemy hit 3. And that one should probably be a bit louder, but not too loud, because you'll obviously hit these enemies quite often as well. Oh my god, there are so many more cool feedback things we could add to these. This will be so juicy when I'm done with this. All right. Yeah, that's what I thought as well. Tilemap doesn't allow that. Also, that's just the way I started out prototyping it, and then at some point it just looked good, so there was no reason to switch to a tilemap. No need to fix something if it ain't broken. That is not a level we're working on right now. Let's get rid of that. And let's try how the new hit sounds feel. And I wanted to make our projectiles look a little nicer. That's right. First of all, I want them to be a bit more vertical, I guess. And let's give them a little nice glow effect, maybe. That could look cool. X scale, image X scale times 1.2, image Y scale times 1.2, 0. Okay. Should probably get the color from the level styler, so we don't need to get it every single frame. It's a little more performance efficient. Cal snail. Okay. No idea how that's gonna look, but let's try it. Surprisingly, the hit sounds kind of work. They can even be a little louder. The shape and the look of the projectiles, Okay, let's just go with the full volume and see if that works. Projectile, let's make that even thinner. You have a developer point of view in question. Do you have a question? If you have a question, then always ask your question. I don't see a question. Slowly but surely getting somewhere. The only issue I have with the gun right now is that it does not really look all that powerful. But maybe it doesn't need to look all that powerful, I don't know. It also doesn't sound very powerful if you... But maybe that's a good fit for a snail. Have to think about that. Damn it! I hate those spikes. It's really hard to focus on those jumping enemies and then the spikes at once. Maybe we should get rid of those spikes. I've actually never beaten this level so far. But it's starting to be quite fun. As you can tell by the fact that I can't stop playing. Even though there's more stuff to implement. First of all, projectiles. Why do they still not look good? Tell me. Kinda want, maybe do it this way around. Means I should be white in the inside and have a little blue shine around them. That's what I was going for. Okay. Go with full alpha. Also what bothers me is that the projectiles are still not exiting the snail at the correct position. We can fix that as well. Let's go into the snail. To fix that, where's our snail? Here we go. Would be a relatively quick fix. Our shooting is down here. And then we just need to add look there. Is that variable called look there? I always forget how I call my variables. Yeah, it is correct. Plus look there, or minus is probably what we need. Minus look there times 10. So once again, gotta figure that out with trial and error, but probably 10 is gonna be about right. Could you please look on your Discord later? Did you send me a game? Was that you? I've already seen that. I'll check it out. Okay, a little further. Then it should be right. Yes, okay. Cool. Did you finish your game project? That's nice. I mean, if you want, we can try to open it on stream, but sometimes that doesn't work because OBS does not like to record full screen games for some weird reason. Okay, Combozen, I totally looked over your question. Let me check it out. When you plan a platformer like yours, do you plan all the levels or duration of each level, or the entire game in total, minus all the rage? You mean when counting the playtime? When I think about how much game time I want to have, playtime? Or in simple, do you plan how much time you want a level to be, or how much time you want the player to spend, or do you go with it on the way? I mean, think how much time the player spends on a level. I usually don't design levels around that number. It's more or less a thing I check when the level is done. Will the player spend too much time on this level, and then maybe I fix it, but it's definitely not something I think about before I build the level. I just make sure it doesn't take too long, it fits the difficulty curve. And I mean, the game is supposed to take as long as it's interesting, not any longer. I don't want to stretch it out, so I'm okay if the game is shorter than I wanted. So if people rush through the content a little faster, that's fine with me. Yeah, it's definitely not a super important thing to think about. It's one thing to keep in the back of your mind, to consider, okay, how long will players spend on this? But it's not one of the main deciding factors that decides how good a level is, in my opinion. Hope that answers your question. Okay. I think we're gonna keep the projectiles like that for now. What is the next big thing we could do with the most impact? Should we get started with particles? I think most of the effects on these enemies are implemented. Where is this enemy, by the way? Here. So it's gonna create a white version of that so we can make it flash whenever we hit it. Spur enemy white. I'll probably change out the sprites for the enemies as well. But let's just make them flash really quick. Da-da-da-da-da. So they'll have a flash variable that simply decreases every single frame. I do that by multiplying it with 0.96 or something like that. And in the draw event, draw. Simply say draw self and draw right ext. Here we'll just draw sprite, spur, enemy, white. Image index, xy, image x scale, image y scale, 0, white, and flash. And we'll only do that when this flashing variable is larger than 0.02. This way we don't spend any unnecessary performance on drawing invisible sprites, which would be pointless. Okay, now all we've got to do is setting this variable to 1 whenever we get hit. And see how it works. Okay, that is too much white. I can already see that it should decay a lot faster. How about this? Let's see. Hey Moko, I'm here. That's great. The more the merrier. Oh my god, why is it still so white? I mean, I know why. It's the post-processing. Let's cut it in half again. Oh, Michael, you're here as well. Were you here before? I can't remember. I mean, you were obviously here yesterday. Okay. That's better. The sound effect when killing one of these guys is definitely a bit lame. Just a little click sound. I wish my explosion sounds were a little better, but unfortunately explosion sounds are hard to make, and the ones I made in the 20 minutes I had before the stream sound kinda crappy. Where are they? Soundies. Where are you? It's just a bunch of noise. Okay, but maybe we can make these plop sounds feel at least a little more impactful by pitching them down. Also, we have a couple of variations of them. So let's implement that. Choose different kinds of plop sounds. Three, 4. And what happens if we pitch them down? Audio, sound, pitch, sound 0.5. Doesn't that sound more impactful? Let's try it. Hey Ambido, the sound effects are pretty good. Thank you. Don't you think the firing sound of the snail sounds a bit too weak? But I mean, at the very least it doesn't sound too annoying, so that's already a plus. I mean, those pitched down flip-flop effects definitely sound a bit better. Dang it! It's so fun, I wanna keep playing, I wanna beat that level, but no, 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 Jonas, no. Implement more visual effects first. So which kind of effect do we want when we kill one of these enemies? There are so many different options, but let's get started with particles, I guess. So that means we need a new particle system. We should probably put that into our level styler because all of the particle systems are in the level styler at the moment. And we can just copy paste one of the particle systems we have right here, or basically a new particle type is what we need. Is there any particle type we could copy? Sparks, player trail, back pattern. Let's copy the sparks. I think that's something we could work with. Particle type, shooter, kill. Yeah, this is how the particle editor looks like in GameMaker. Brilliant, I know, I know. You can really see what you're doing. For the color, which color should we go for? Cull traps, probably. But a bit brighter version of that. And the speed needs to be a lot faster. What do all of these numbers mean? That's another thing. I don't know if I can't see the tooltips. Okay, so the speed of those particles will be between 0 and 1. Obviously want those to be a lot faster. Let's do at least 20. Between 8 and 10, something like that, I don't know. Okay. Now we should be able to implement that into the enemy whenever it gets killed. What is the function for spawning particles? Part called burst, or okay, let's just have a look in a different object where I already used it. Here in the step event, it should be somewhere. Particles create. Who names a function like that? Particles create, because that's a nice function because we don't need to create an emitter first. Index of the particle type at our current position. Oh dang, that's the particle system and that's the particle type. And the number will be also somewhat dependent on max HP. So max HP divided by 2 and round. Okay, I'm very curious how this is gonna look. Hey, city builder. Oof. Oof. It sounds like oof from Roblox. And NASA wants to know my location. Why is that? Maybe the hit sound could probably be a little better. Why are those particles? First of all, why are they so ugly? Secondly, why are they blue? I thought I made them red. Why are they blue? Let's figure it out. By, first of all, going back into the level styler. Okay, I see. Which other sprites can we use? They're a little more visible. A little square, and that probably means we've got to make them a little smaller. Part, type, size. Min size 0.3, max size 0.7. Size increase, no, we don't want that. Maybe we can add a bit of gravity as well. Okay, hope that's gonna look a bit better now. And we can, if not, we can obviously layer just more effects on top of each other. And start killing the performance. Oh, nice. Just why the hell is it going upwards? I think we're gonna get rid of that gravity, or maybe just very slight gravity. That looked a bit strong anyway. I think the particles are a bit big. But it's definitely juicy fireworks. Why are there no particles when I kill them? That's not how it's supposed to be. That's a bug. We can't have bugs. Let's get rid of it. Let's delete the entire project. Quick. Ah, that's sprites. That's not the objects. I was confused. Okay, we obviously... Oh, we even play the sound effect twice and create the particles twice? No. That's wrong, that's all wrong. Hope the sound effect still sounds good if we just play it once. And also, this will mean fewer particles now, but at least we'll have particles when we kill stuff. What did you miss? I mean, you can just have a look at the game. And then you probably know what you missed. I guess these particles would feel a lot more impactful if they were in front of the enemies instead of behind them. And then we will just make them a little smaller so they don't just block the entire vision of the player. Come over here. Come on, why are you bouncing around on the other side? Aw, oh, damn those stupid spikes, I hate them so much. I hate this game, why am I creating this? Let's put the particles on a different layer, so probably need a new particle system for that. But that should be the least of our concerns. And on which layer will we put that? Let's put it on the FX layer. FX. Here we go. That was easy. Which means Mr. Enemy, where are you? You will create particles on this layer now. And let's make the particle smaller. So at the moment they are between 0.2 and 0.7. Let's go between 0.1 and 0.3 maybe? Or maybe we should allow even smaller ones. Let's check how that looks. And then we should probably also check the performance. I mean, that looks reasonable. Let's also tell them to have a bit of a fade value when they're created. A little bit of a flash value. Let's just set that to 0.5 at the very beginning. And I wonder what happens if we allow some different speeds for those particles. What if we allow them to be a lot slower? And maybe even a bit faster? Let's experiment. Hey Darksoon! How many levels am I intending to make? I mean, next big version of the game is supposed to be finished at the end of March. And for that I want to have about 1 hour playtime. If it's more than fine, and I guess it's gonna be about something between 30 and 50 levels, depending on what you count as a level, because we also have these dark tutorial levels story-based levels in between that are very short. For example, there's the brain room here. I don't know if this qualifies as a level because you can walk through it relatively quickly. Yeah, so I'm not sure how many levels, but I guess first version will be about 60 minutes playtime. Okay, do the particles look better like this, or should we go back to this circle-ish shape? Damn those spikes. Very close to removing them. Oh my god, am I about to beat this time around? Can't believe it. Oh no. Oh no. Performance looks more or less okay. Sometimes there are some weird spikes. But that's probably the explosion particles, I assume. At least on this PC it seems like we're still over 300 frames per second. This is unlimited frame rate mode. Yeah, consistently over 500. Guess that's okay, guess that's okay. I wanna win this one time. Why is it not possible? And I think the next big thing that could make this level feel a lot better is by giving the enemies some better sprites and animations. Ah, dang it! Kinda want to beat this single though. It's probably super boring to watch, but it's so fun to play. I don't wanna turn that biggie into 2 pieces yet. Let's try to get rid of the small ones first. I could have had that. This is actually interesting to watch. I'm always very interested in the watchability of this game because I'm more or less designing this to be pretty watchable, so I can understand if this level isn't, because it's the same thing over and over again. Oh, that was close. Wow. Oh, so many close. Did you see that skill? No, you did not, because My webcam was blocking the view, as always when I do something cool. Dang it. It's fun to watch too. Okay, that's cool. I recommend giving enemies a better indication that they're dying to give the player the feeling of accomplishment through every shot they make. Yeah, we should do that. So you mean like giving them a health bar, but probably without giving them a health bar, because health bars are lame and there are probably different ways to visualize this. Okay, let's maybe draw a new enemy anyway, because this one is kind of used for something else anyway. So spur shooter enemy. And I'll just leave the eyes empty so we can make it look in different directions later on, and probably give it a little bit of squishiness and a little bit of a wobble whenever it bounces on the ground and stuff like that would be pretty cool. But let's actually start with your suggestion, Spencer, and give the player some sort of indication when those enemies are dying. So how do we make this look as crazy as possible, while staying true to the blocky style of the game? What if we... That could make them look pretty angry. Then we can do a similar shape down here. And then I'd imagine they could have some eyes here that automatically follow around the player. That would be cool. Maybe let's place those eyes so we can imagine how that will look like later on. These will be moving around. And the question is, how do they change when you hit them? Will they change their facial expression? Will they become that? Will they get some cracks? What if we remove some pieces from them? I wonder. I'm not sure if this is the correct visualization, but at the very least, it's a visualization, I guess. I'll just have to make sure to keep the hitbox more or less in place, otherwise you'll wonder why you got killed. And I mean, they don't take that many shots, so let's do one more, then it should be probably enough. At this point, they already look pretty much ruined anyway. Alrighty. Which means now we can give them their new sprite. Oh, we obviously need to create a white version of that as well. And Mr. Enemy, you will get a new sprite in traps, right? Shooter enemy white. We'll set image speed to 0. And after every hit, we'll say image index equals HP divided by HP max, and we multiply that with 4. Hope that works. We'll see. Let's go. Oh my god, there's a lot of new messages in chat. Boom, Tetris for Jonas. Why are you talking about Tetris again? Okay, you're talking with each other, that's nice. I don't have to interact as much with you. Why did it turn back into a normal one? Do we need to do 4 minus? That did not look correct to me. That looks a bit more correct. But still I can't tell because we're shooting so quickly. Let's reduce the firing rate for debugging. Or do we have every snail? 40 WoWie participants already. Jesus. That's way more than I expected. It's about 4 times more than I expected. Dang those spikes. Yeah, I think it's working now. It just still feels weird because... is it working though? No, not really. They're... Oh? Joan is very confused. Ah! The sprites are not in the correct order here. What the hell? Can't work then. Lol. Can we just show the current health value? Yeah, we could do that. If it doesn't work now, good idea. I think it should. Yeah. There's just one more little issue. Or that's incorrect here as well, so sometimes the white flash looks off. Okay, let's go back to the normal fire rate and check out how it feels now. I think it will still feel a little weird because they look so broken and then 2 entirely new ones pop out of the last one. Doesn't feel very logical, but... yeah, my concentration's already going down quite a bit, as you can see when I've been streaming for a while. Then at some point everything just takes for ages because I can't find anything anymore. Is that my boss music? It's stock music from YouTube. Just to see how this level will feel like, but I'll obviously create something myself later on. Okay. Yeah, actually this feels nice. Also the enemies look quite a bit more dangerous when they are broken. Makes them look even meaner. Yeah, but this is pretty fun. Let's scrap all of the other levels and make a game entirely based on this mechanic. Checking out the performance a bit. So I guess it should be alright. Sometimes you just chill out in one position and then random spike gets you. Definitely feels a bit weird. Sometimes these entirely new enemies pop out there. Okay, should we continue? Use facial expressions. Yeah, that would be good. They should probably have a different facial expression when they get hit, and they should follow you with their eyes. Problem at the moment, all of that is not really possible with these sprites, so should probably change the way they change when they get hit. I think I'll just give him a little bit of this broken look by default because I kind of liked it. What if we just make him look a bit like this? That could give him a little more unique silhouette. Make them a little more unique. Oops, and then we've got to find a different way. To show their health. That actually doesn't break them down as much, so it doesn't feel as weird if there are new enemies popping out. I wonder if we just add some cracks here and there. How that will look. Probably quite ugly. But let's try it. It might work. We'll see. That will obviously allow us to do a lot more with facial expressions and stuff like that. A little bit of a bigger crack here. Will it blend? Ba-da-ba-bum-bap. Okay, that should be enough to show that this one is almost falling apart. Okay, let's see how it looks. Enemies will only attack higher platforms. What do you mean, Spencer? So enemies don't go all the way down to the player? But then what do you dodge? Jan has an idea for visualizing the HP as well. They split apart more and more, like in Opus Nova. But then it would feel like I'm helping them to split. That's not what I want. it's supposed to feel like killing stuff, not like helping stuff to spread. I'm not entirely sure what you mean, Spencer. Maybe you can find a different way to explain it to a stupid person like me. I guess that works as a visualization. Maybe it's a bit too subtle still. I'm too bad to beat this level. Okay, sorry, gotta catch up on the chat. Ah, you mean enemies will... Ah, okay, that's an interesting idea. So you basically mean the enemies are only bouncing around in the upper half of the level, but the lower half of the level is covered with spikes and with AI-placed spikes that come out of the ground suddenly and kill you. So you have to decide, do you want to go up to the enemies or do you stay in spike zone? What do you think is the advantage of that? What's the problem at the moment with the level? Why does it need fixing? It's an interesting idea for sure. Not entirely sure what the purpose of it would be. Enemies will be able to attack higher platforms. Oh, so you mean enemies will be able to shoot upwards or stuff like that? I can do a middle ground between splitting and broken stuff. Also, that would change the silhouette so it's more visible. But that would also make it harder to make facial expressions if they're splitting in some weird way. I can't really do facial expressions anymore. You'll make an obnoxiously long Discord post about it, okay? Nice. Kind of hard to see the difference with these tiny cracks, yeah. Ah, and they split apart along the crack. Ah, that's an interesting idea. Yeah, I like that idea. Let's do a crack in the middle and then they split into two parts. That sounds very reasonable. Maybe we can do the crack in a way that fits the style a bit better, actually. What if it's literally like this? Just gotta make sure we keep these facial expressions intact so we can add those. Let's just experiment. We might find something that works. It looks like a weird nose thingy. Yeah, maybe if we do it like this, we can keep the facial expressions intact. Also, it looks kind of interesting. By opinion. Here we go. Let's try that. Let's turn it into something white. White, 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 white. Let's go. Still live? Oh yeah, already 1 hour 20. Probably not gonna be live for a lot longer. That forces the player to prioritize the center of the enemy. So you could deal more damage in the center, basically. Yeah, I feel that's probably the option that makes the most sense so far. Only thing when they pop is that one of them should go to the left and one of them should go to the right, and maybe we could even spawn them slightly further left or slightly further right. Okay, so when we create this one right here, we want one going to the right and we want one going to the left. Which means maybe we can also spawn this one for a little further to the right. Just hope they won't get stuck in the wall if we do that. But we'll see. We'll see. Hi, Schlingelkorn. You agree? Yeah. Enemies could shake when they're hit. That could be a nice touch as well. I'll try that. The first time we split that enemy looks better now, I guess, yeah. It would obviously be better if we could make this left-right positioning even stronger. But at some point they're gonna get stuck in the wall. That's not what I want. Yes, now we have one that's stuck in the wall. Fantastic. There are obviously fixes to that. But other than that, splitting looks pretty good. Okay, let's maybe do compromise, do something like 15. We wanted to make enemies shake when they're hit. Let's do that as well real quick. We already have a variable for that, so easy peasy. Let's do random 1. Or random 20. Random 20. Minus 10. And we'll multiply that with flash. And we'll shake our object a bit and then instead of draw self, we'll do sprite index, image index. Okay, we need to do it like this. X offset. And Y offset. So it's the same offset for both the main sprite as well as for the flashing. Okay, that should work. All right, Kyle. Have a nice day. Oh, what the hell? Where? Oh no, no, they're invisible. That's a bit too unfair. But cool nonetheless. What's your question about the post-processing shader? Is the post-processing shader on, do you mean? Is it on? It is on, yes. And I even made some performance variations of the post-processing shader. This is no post-processing. This is very low amount of post-processing, which still might look a little weird. Then this is medium post-processing, which looks almost the same as high, and this is high. I think the post-processing should perform a lot better now. Found a couple or one more nice way to improve the performance even further. And if that for some reason doesn't work, then you can still choose a lower post-processing setting. Okay, can we see enemies shaking now when we hit them? Yes, but it's too subtle. We want more. We want more. Let's overdo it a bit so we can actually see something. And if it's too much, we can still go back to how it was before. You don't see the shake. How's the post-processing working? It is basically just a bloom effect and some color correction. And the bloom is basically you apply a blur filter to the entire screen and you add that on top of the original image. And all of that is done in shaders. Okay, now the shake is pretty visible and I think it looks cool. Definitely feels a bit more powerful now. It would just be great if their facial expression would change as well. They are hit. Oh my god, I was so close to beating it. I could already feel the victory. I could already smell it. Usually you think you're safe down here, but then for some reason you're not really safe down there. Might be a good strategy to just wait here for stuff to arrive on my side. That seems like a good strat. Oh no, now everything's coming over to my side. No! No! Why? Okay, whatever. Ah! I want to beat it so bad. Yeah, that shake looks cool. What if jumping gave the cannon a sudden burst fire? That might be interesting. That's actually not a bad idea, because I think you weren't there when we started the stream. At the beginning, I had a very similar mechanic where you only fired a shot when you jumped, so jumping was already tied to firing. But that didn't really feel like a shooter, more like a sniper game, because shooting was so rare, but adding an additional burst might be a cool idea. Let's actually, should we try that right now? Why not, right? and it would make the player more active potentially, yeah. I mean, that's right. If we already have a jump in this level, it would be cool if we could encourage the player to actually use the jump. I like that idea quite a lot. Good idea, Jan. Thanks. So, hope my concentration points. So hope I have enough concentration points to make that happen. Otherwise, we've got to wait, like in a mobile game, for those concentration points to recharge. Or we just buy a new pack in the store. That's obviously an option as well. Okay, what the hell am I talking? Here we fire the shot. Let's copy that. Only if the gun is equipped. Where's Move Like a Snail? My favorite script. Here. That's a good idea. Very excited to see how that plays out. We don't care about the cooldown, but we care about the snail type. Okay, don't think we need that one. Okay, let's try that. We'll never let you end the stream. Oh no. Oh, nice. That actually feels pretty great. Could definitely use an additional sound effect though. Didn't see that spike. Very hard to see the spikes, especially when you're focusing on the action. Oh, nice. Managed to glitch an enemy into the wall. 3 win. Okay, I gotta get out of here. Oh, I couldn't get out of here. Okay, let's add an additional sound effect. I think that would add a lot. Which sound effects do we have? Do we use one of those crappy explosions? Oh, I mean one of those crappy explosions? No. Let's use one of those plops then again, but without pitching it this time around. Priority 0.9. False, doesn't loop. Autocomplete, where are you? Here you are. Setting volume. Okay. You like the particle effect when the enemies die now? Cool. Oh, what if the smallest enemy explodes with debris that damages the snail? Yeah. That could be a good idea as well. It's easy to get cornered with no way to escape. That should be fixed somehow. The trick is not to shoot them in two little pieces, I think. What if there was a way to shoot sideways? Let's not make it too complicated. I was actually thinking that maybe shooting sideways could be a spin-off mechanic where in a different level you get a different kind of gun that only shoots sideways. I think that would be interesting. Actually, from playing, I think getting cornered is avoidable if you play it smart. There seems to be some radioactive waste around. Oh. Why is this? I know why this is happening. Yeah, this is Game Maker Studio 2. That is correct. Mr. Random, thanks for the random question. Depending on your X velocity, shooting angle bands. I actually tried something similar when we got started yesterday, if I remember correctly. Did I create the blur effect by drawing the sprite but bigger and alpha divided by 2? In this case, yes. Oh lol. That actually feels kind of satisfying to shoot in these levels, but it obviously is a bug. In these cases, so the very lowest setting of post-processing does basically exactly what you described. The other two is use an actual blur. I can show you in a sec if you're interested. See, an easy way of not dying in the corner there is, first of all, not going into that corner. And secondly, shooting the smaller enemies first, so we don't get too many of them. Also, I think I should probably build a better escape route up here. It's a little sad that your jump height is not sufficient to reach this upper platform, which makes this upper platform a bit pointless. I gotta fix those guys getting stuck in the walls. Actually, this shooting mechanic is pretty cool. I think it will appear a couple more times in the game. It will definitely not just be one level. Will we beat it this time? I can feel it. It smells like victory. I just need to make sure I don't randomly get killed by a spike this time around. That was close. Oh my god, I actually did it. Perfect, 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 perfect. Alright, that means my life's purpose is now fulfilled. And we can finally end the stream. If you have any more questions or things you would like to discuss with me, please post them in the chat now, and I'll be reading chat for a little longer and answer your questions. Don't forget to join WoWie Game Jam, 1st of February. Link to that is in the description. It will be awesome. Hopefully, we'll create some WoWie games. Okay, let me read. What are you telling me? Ah, right, I wanted to show you how the post-processing shader looks like. Sorry. So, I mean, you might need some basic understanding of shaders in order to understand what I'm about to show you. But basically, my blur shader looks like this now. The way this works is basically this code is executed for every pixel on the screen. After the entire game has finished rendering, and the way you blur this is simply by combining or taking the average of 7 pixels that are at slightly different positions. So this is where the pixel actually is here. And then I just offset it 2 times in 2 different directions. 3 times. So I basically draw all of the sprites 7 times on top of each other, and then I take the average of that down here, which looks like a blur. Unfortunately, that alone is not enough to make it look super duper good. So what I do on top of that is... Oh, let me have a look. Where's my post-processing here? So this script right here has undergone some heavy performance improvements already. It's actually pretty good now, I think. So there are multiple blur passes. This blur gets basically applied one time horizontally, then one time vertically. Before that, the image is scaled down, so the shader only needs to be applied to a smaller image, and then after the blur shader is applied, the image gets scaled back up, because a reduced resolution doesn't really matter for a blur shader anyway, and it performs better if it's just a small texture. And I actually do 2 more passes, because that is more performant than doing all of those texture reads in just one pass, because you need less texture reads in total. Here, this is how my blur shader looked like a couple of days ago. So that is a huge amount of texture reads just to get the same look, and now I just do it with 7 texture reads, which turns out is absolutely enough if you apply this shader 4 times. So on the highest quality setting, I apply this shader 4 times. I can show you again in game how different shader settings look like. So this is the highest shader setting at the moment. This is without post-processing, so this is how the bare image looks like without any effects applied to it. Then this is a very cheap post-processing effect that doesn't have anything to do with the blur I just showed you. It just doubles the image a little bit and then applies some color correction. This one is actually done with the blur shader I just showed you, but it only has 2 render passes. So you can, when you look very closely, you can see that it's slightly pixelated and it has some slightly strange artifacts here and there. So in general, it looks pretty decent and very close to how it's supposed to look. But if I press P one more time, now it looks absolutely gorgeous. It has 4 render passes and it still performs super duper well, at very least on my machine. I have no idea how it performs on other machines, but I feel like it's definitely pretty well optimized now. If I go into unlimited frame rate mode, I'm still over 1000 frames per second. And today I spent some time optimizing the depth particles, by the way, so even if we keep dying over and over again, the frame rate stays pretty damn high. Over 400 frames per second. That was pretty unthinkable before those performance improvements. Okay, so that was the post-processing shader. I hope you learned something. If not, then yeah, then you might... obviously a little tricky and a little complicated to get into, especially if you haven't worked with shaders before. But I hope it was interesting nonetheless. So now I'm sure I missed out on a couple of chat messages. In case I miss any of your questions, feel free to post them again, by the way. That is totally fine with me. Oh, you made a video. Okay, I'll check it out. Did you make a feedback video? Okay, I'll check that out for sure. I mean, we can check it out on stream if you want, but I'll definitely check it out after the stream. Create a particle effect tutorial for GameMaker. Do you work with GameMaker or with Unity? What if there was a little particle effect when a bullet hit something? Yeah, that's one thing we should probably do. How about a screen freezes when an enemy dies, so we get some visual feedback and also some time to think and move? Yeah. That sounds not like an entirely stupid idea, and stuff like that is very easy to make with Unity, because you just say time.delta time equals 0 and then everything stops moving. In GameMaker, unfortunately, making freeze frames is a little harder, because you basically have to make everything stop manually. So that would be pretty time intensive to implement that. I agree that it would probably be a cool effect. But let's see if we actually end up doing this. Okay. Great stream. Thank you, Avidi. Thanks for watching. A shader tutorial would be nice for GameMaker, for Unity. I mean, okay, shaders are basically pretty similar in Unity and in GameMaker. And honestly, shader code is not all that complicated. The only annoying thing about shader code is that it's really hard to debug. Like if you have a bug somewhere in here, doesn't really give you a lot of good information what's wrong. But usually you can figure it out. So this already looks very similar to C#. Okay, not really, but there are only a couple of functions you need to know for shader code here. Texture reads, and obviously vectors, and I mean that's pretty much it. So yeah, guess I could make a shader tutorial at some point. If there are people interested in that. What is my weakest point in GameMaker? Do you mean my greatest weakness in game development in general, or my greatest weakness in GameMaker Studio 2? Both of those are very interesting questions. I think I'm not sure if I have weaknesses in GameMaker Studio 2 because I've been using the program for a very long time and I can do pretty much everything I want to do in the program, and all of the weaknesses I feel like come more down to GameMaker than to my GameMaker skills, I feel like. For example, my ability to sort objects and sprites and to keep everything clean and tiny, of course, that might be a weakness of mine as well. But it might also be... It's definitely also a bit of a weakness of GameMaker, that you have everything stuffed into that little sidebar. And there's no other way to organize and visualize all of this stuff. And I miss prefab so much. And then my biggest weakness in game development, finishing, definitely very high up there. Staying motivated while developing longer games, that's definitely one of the hard parts for me. And acting the way I know I should sometimes. For example, I know it's super reasonable to have a bit of a prototyping phase before you jump right into the development, but for some reason when I develop a game alone, I always skip that, even though it would make so much sense and it would make everything so much easier. And it would allow me to focus on way more interesting projects in the long run, probably. I always have that craving to jump right into it and to get started. So that's another weakness of mine, I would say. Yeah, making long campaigns is really hard, yeah. Nobody said game development was easy. Cool, we reached the 2-hour mark. Thanks for watching this live stream today. Hope you enjoyed, and gonna see you tomorrow. See ya.